I'm live. All right. Hey, friends. So today we're trying something brand new, and that is I'm going to be doing some live reaction videos to communities on the World Wide Web. Um, and so I have never done this before, but what I wanted to really open up and kind of like pull back the curtain on today is how I view communities. I've looked at thousands of communities in my career. I've studied a number of communities from an academic perspective, done multiple research reports on community building. And so I wanted to just really, like I said, pull back the curtain on what I'm looking for when I look at a community to see if it is set up for success. So we're going to look at what are some of the foundational items that you need to have in place, and if something is missing, what is that thing? And yeah, just really looking at what we can do to make some quick improvements in our communities. So, hey, Will. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we are going to start out by talking about two communities in particular. I'm going to see how much time I have um, based on what I do an overview of today. We're going to look at Airtable and Monday.com. The reason being these two, I'm starting with these two because Monday.com, I just got an email from them about 2 weeks ago because I used them for a client. And then I have my own account, and they sent me an email saying, welcome to the Monday.com community. And I was like, what is this? So I'll share with you what that was in just a moment. And so that prompted me to want to look into it a little bit further. And then Airtable is just one that it's a community that has been in existence for several years now. I believe they got started with a formal community component during the pandemic. And I wanted to really share how these big enterprise companies about if we build a neighborhood community or a civic organization that's kind of run loosely as a community or as a collective, or a community of practice. It's sort of different, but there's a ton that we can be learning from each other. So if the video of this is choppy, by the way, I found out that Riverside, like, I need to upgrade my account, but they won't let me do that. So I have to like manually work with support to do it, and it takes 12 hours to do that. So I apologize if the video on the YouTube live is choppy, but the recording of this will be posted so that you can see it in HD later on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I am Carrie. For those of you who have not met me before, I help organizations of all sizes, all types, across all industries build communities that fuel their goals. So whether that is revenue generation or it's creating a change in the world as we know it today, communities are the power behind what changes can be executed within these organizations. So that's what I help organizations do. And today we're just going to be touching the top line. So I do detailed audits. That's one of the offerings that our company offers, is a detailed audit and a breakdown of like, here's what's going really well in your community. Here's where there are gaps. I'm not going to be doing that level of like detail because we'd be here for like 2 hours. When I do an audit, I also do like a journey map of the onboarding and all of that stuff. But we're just going to be talking about the high level stuff. And I think for most folks, this is what, like, doing an audit like this, just a really quick top line one, will get them some quick wins and identify the low hanging fruit and things that they can be improving about their approach right away. So I want you to still see this, even if it's not like the whole shabam. If you want to get even deeper into this and understand the framework that I'm using to audit these communities, I highly recommend you check out our brand new free workshop that is on demand. It's called How to Create the Thriving Community of Your Dreams. And you can find that in the description of this YouTube video right now. It's, like I said, brand new, totally updated. You're going to love it. We put a lot of time and energy into it. And it's a 6-part framework that we teach that, again, I'm going to be using pieces of that framework to do the audit today. And so I want you to understand the bigger picture behind this. So make sure to check that out if you have not already. All right, so let's get into these audits, okay? We're going to start with, I think, let's do alphabetical order. Airtable. Let's start with Airtable. And before I do, I want to start with some ground rules that I'm setting for myself as I begin these reaction videos. And that's because I don't want to come across as insensitive. And I also sure that you know that I know that just because something looks a certain way on the surface doesn't mean that it ended up that way because somebody was bad at their job. Like I know, again, I've worked with so many organizations at this point, and I know sometimes like the placement of your link of your community is not up to you. It's a decision that has to be made in a committee somewhere, and you just, for whatever reason, could not get that link changed, the copy changed on the link that you wanted. So with that in mind, I have a couple ground rules that I'm laying for myself as I do these reactions. One, I'm taking a very gentle approach to these reactions, knowing that there is no one right way to build a community. This is not black and white. There's not right and wrong. There are things that are categorically bad in community building, and if I see them, I will call that out, but I doubt that I will. But for the most part, all of this is gray area. And so we have to take a really gentle approach when we're looking at, okay, what will we change from here and what can we improve in the future? The second ground rule that I have for myself is that I refuse to have any shame in this conversation at all. Okay. This work is step by step. And I know, because I've built communities now so many times for our own organization, the CMJ group, as well as for our clients. And there's no place for shame in this process. You have to be testing and iterating and learning. So please know that anything that I share today is not shared from a place of shame. And also tied together with my third rule for myself is that this is a no judgment space. And like I mentioned before, I know that there are dynamics behind the scenes that might contribute to low engagement, to why things are written the way they are on these pages. And I'm not here to judge why any of that is the way it is or the job that these community builders are doing, because I know that they work their butts off. Okay. So please know all that. And then finally, my fourth ground rule for myself is that I'm doing this with all empathy. Okay. I'm doing it for all empathy for the experience of building communities. And I'm going to be sharing as I go through this. Hopefully it will bring up my own challenges that I've run into and that our team has run into running the CMJ community, which is our community for community builders. And then other issues that I see across the clients that we work with on a regular basis. Like I have been there. I've been there for these challenges. So I think that's really important, because I don't want to just like come in here and then like, I make a face and you're like, oh my God, like God forbid, like, the Airtable community team views this and they feel bad about their work. Like, please don't at all. Yeah. So this is the foundation for everything that I'm talking about today. So let's begin. Let's begin there. So I'm going to share my screen. This is the plan for today. I'm going to be sharing just a look at the screen where I'm actually viewing the community so that you can see where I'm finding things, what the onboarding process is like, all that good stuff. So you're probably seeing that here. Make sure we're good here. Okay. We appear to be good. Okay. So yes, this is just Google. Don't worry about it. Let's look at the Airtable community. So one thing that I always try to do is I go to the actual webpage itself. So now I use Airtable, and you're seeing behind the scenes of my actual setup. I'm going to sign out because I want to see where the community is actually positioned on the homepage for the organization. So, okay, let's look. This is airtable.com when I'm not signed in. When I'm not signed in, do I see any trace of community here? So this is all just, unique selling propositions, all these important things like that should be on a sales page. And then usually where I look for community first is like in the footer, and like Learning Center is typically where you might find it. You might also find it under resources, and that's exactly where it is here. So there's a couple things I want to call out here that if you look under these resources, there's actually, it says community here. This is going to link us down. You can see the link at the very bottom on the left-hand side here. You might not be able to see that. It pulls up, it shows me that it's going to take me to community.airtable.com. So that is a domain, a subdomain of the airtable.com website. But there's also a developer's site. There's also templates, and there's also the Airtable universe, and there's even more if we click here. So these are likely, I'm not sure how the internal setup of Airtable works, but they might be run by the community team as well. Like this Airtable universe, I believe, is like you can submit templates into their library, and essentially it's like user-generated content for their template library, which is very helpful for new users. So yeah, that's what this is. And then see, you can publish and manage that. So yeah, it's user-generated content. So, but let's go to the community because that's what I can only really audit one infrastructure piece at a time. Okay, so let's start with the community. Let's see where it takes us. All right, so I'm signed out. I can actually see what's going on in the community before I'm actually signed into Airtable. So the reason that they've done that is likely for SEO or search engine optimization reasons, because this way Google can index the activity in the community. And when you Google for like, how do I use Airtable? You know, how do I organize creative story ideas in Airtable? Now Google's going to index that, and then this might come up as a search result in Google. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So they've got this initial banner. This is very common in enterprise communities, like having this big banner that kind of overlays the community itself and gives you some really quick stats on things. Mostly these stats are like vanity metrics, but they just kind of are showing you like, this is alive. So that's good. The actual look and feel of this is gorgeous. I'm really impressed by the look and feel of it. It feels very calming and soothing being in here. I love, see what they have here is they have 3 sections. So you will have seen me talk before in other videos about radical simplicity in your community and the importance of having no more than 3 main areas to organize activity, especially when you're just getting started. So that's exactly what they have here. They have 3 main areas. Now they have more. This is like a big waterfall of content here, I assume, yeah, that you can just keep hitting load more on. But they have these 3 main areas, and this is exactly aligned with what I would recommend as well. So new here, this is going to be all new member content, show and tell, and then submit an idea. So show and tell is, I am assuming, tied to their Airtable universe that I shared with you. Obviously getting that user generated content, getting those examples of real users using Airtable, if they're able to show that then new users come in through using those templates, that's going to show that they are having an impact on bottom line revenue. So that's probably how they are calculating the, one of the ways that they're calculating the ROI, return on investment, of the community here. And then submit an idea might be another area where any user can come in and submit an idea. So their product team and their support team are likely looking at this and indexing the ideas and keeping track of them. So yeah, that's exactly what this is here. My guess is I can usually look at a platform like this and I can tell what software it's running on. I would guess that this is, kind of looks like, yeah, Khoros. There we go. It tells me right here. It's Khoros. Khoros is one of the largest community platform software companies. Their licensing is going to run you 6 figures plus per year, plus setup fees and consulting and all that other stuff. Plus, you need a whole team of IT folks on your side to set it up. So if you are a small business, you're not going to look at this platform. Okay, save yourself some time. But I just want you to be aware of this. That's one of the more popular ones among enterprise platform provider, enterprise customers. So yeah, so I'm always curious about that because I want to understand what their technical capabilities are. So this is interesting because I'm not even signed in yet at this point. So I can just kind of take a look around. I can browse. I'm assuming that when I click on, let's say I see something that Airtable first companies, interesting. This person is looking for people who are building Airtable first products. I assume if I want to vote anybody up, I have to be signed in to do that. Yeah, that's when it is going to prompt me to sign in. So let's see what happens when I do that. I'm like, okay, I want to like talk to this person. Maybe I run an Airtable first company. What does that flow like? Pretty seamless so far. Yeah, that's a really nice experience because I already have an account. Now, if I did not have an Airtable account, I have to sign up for that, and then I'd probably get distracted and go do something else. You'll also notice what just happened when I gave that kudos. And this is all enabled by Khoros's gamification that just went away. Come on, man. I got a badge for giving a kudos. These are just ways of like quickly kind of getting like dopamine hits for members. Like, oh, I got a little badge for, liking this person's post. And if I wanted to reply to it, I could reply to it. I'd probably get another badge for doing that. So you can see here, you can also see the breadcrumbs, like this is the main page of the site. This is living under discussions, ask a question, other questions, Airtable first companies. So it's like, you can see actually like how they're, the information architecture of the community. Oh, here's my badges again. They randomly popped up. Cool, Khoros. Okay, cool. I got a welcome badge. So if you actually start to look here under discussions, you can see, interesting. So if I look under just community and then under discussions, for whatever reason, the drop a product idea is not here. Show and tell remains. This is a new one, development and APIs, which I'm assuming goes toward their community for developers. And then ask a question, which is extremely broad, which is okay. It's okay that it's extremely broad. And then they've just parsed it into these 5 different areas. I think that's really nice because it keeps things really, really simple. And this is probably what they have discovered are the main issues people have with their product and service is like, I want to set up automations. I want to set up formulas and I don't know how to do it. I want to set up my base really nicely. I want the interface to look nice. And then there's just other questions, which is, it looks like their most popular area, 14,000. Yeah. So they might want to look at segmenting this further. When you have this many other questions compared to everything else, I'd be very curious what other topics are coming up. And maybe that's something that they're doing on the back end right now. So yeah, this is looking good so far. One thing that I'm always curious about is like, okay, did I get any emails or anything when I signed up for this? So I'm going to actually go to, I'm not going to open my email on YouTube, but I am going to open it privately here. Yeah. And it's a very clean and user-friendly layout. They've used Khoros really nicely without kind of, because you can really you can do too much on Khoros. And yes, this is a B2B community to answer your question. B2B in the sense that Airtable is a product for other companies to use. So Airtable is essentially like a really fancy Excel. I'll just call it that. That's oversimplifying what it does because you can create apps with it and things like that. But so this is a B2B community. So most people who are going to be using this community are like very busy. They just want the answer to their question and they just want to be able to use the software faster and more effectively. So that's, in thinking about the design, like the simplicity and streamlined nature of things really makes a lot of sense. All right, so I'm checking my email right now to go back over here to what did I get from my email, because that's what you want to see in an onboarding process, is that not only does the actual community look good in and of itself, but also am I getting reminders to come back to the community. And so I got an email that I earned the 2 badges. That's what I got, with no other context to them. So I'm just going to share this screen really quickly so you can see what I'm seeing here. Stop this. Here we go. I got 2 emails like this. One that's like, you earned the welcome badge, yay. And then the other one that is, you earned the kudos badge. This is all it says. And it just says, view it on your profile. There's so much more they could be doing here. I also should have gotten a welcome email that welcomed me to the community because I had never been part of it before. And that would help me a lot. I'm also already somehow at the 2 explorer phase where I'm just like, I haven't done anything. I'd be curious how this breaks down. It looks like it is not transparent how they do the leaderboard, but yeah. Oh, here we go. View all badges. So you want to see like, okay, how do you level up? So it looks like you move from this welcome area all the way up. These are all the different badges you can get. This is very Khoros looking. And you can get some specific badges for like uploading templates and things like that. Again, this is a community that is very clearly about user-generated content and that is very clearly about product ideas and things like that. So interestingly though, I somehow got on this page where I'm like, oh, there's like all these other things going on in the community that I didn't even notice. If I go back out into the main page, okay, they are here. I just, for whatever reason, did not notice them when I first logged in. But there's like even more going on here. Okay, see, this is where me and the user start to get a little confused. Okay, because it's like, okay, wait, I thought these were the 3 main actions, and there's like a flow here that I would, as a user, never just like browse through. But now I'm finding out there's like groups that I could be part of, and like, what do I do? So this is where we start to get some of that overwhelm coming in. So I personally, looking at this, I'm like, do away with this and make this like custom invites. But that is just one way of doing it. There are specific groups. So if we click into AI Accelerator group, you got to have an AI Accelerator group. It looks like it's just like a sub area of the forum here, and they have just a small subset of members. It's very hard for me to tell if this is like invite only or, okay, it says anybody can join it. It's a user group, AI focused events. I'm surprised that they don't have more members in this group, to be real honest with you. And again, this is said with no shame and no judgment whatsoever, but just simply that this is probably a really big growth area for them. And I assume they're doing a lot of events and maybe even like in-person gatherings around this. And I just realized I'm not sharing the right screen anymore. So you're not even seeing what I'm seeing. I'm so sorry about that. We're back over here at the AI accelerator. So this is, and I was talking about this, this right here. There's just a lot going on this top area. And I clicked into this AI accelerator, and this is what I found in this area. So yeah, I just think there's a lot of potential here. This is definitely something I would explore more. Other groups they have, it looks like marketing. This should be a much larger group, I assume. Yeah, it's only got 31 members in it. So again, like huge opportunity here. And it's something that it's hard for me to tell. It looks like it's fairly recent, May, April. I'm like, how old is this community? That's another thing I'm looking at, is like, how long has it been around and how much debt does it have, in the sense of like technical debt or other kinds of debt. So it's been around since, and you also see, welcome to Airtable for Marketing Group. It started in 2022 by Jordan Scott, did this, who's no longer with Airtable, did this welcome post. And it looks like, yeah, it's just under-resourced likely. And so there's probably a lot of opportunity here that I would definitely lean into. Looks like they also have events. So I'd be curious, are these like in-person events? Are they virtual events? So I'm always taking a look at that. So they've got about it looks like 2 events coming up, and that's all that's here. So, and then Academy, I assume this is a different team that runs the Academy, and this is probably no longer on Khoros, in case you're curious. This is probably, it does not say what platform it's on. And I'm not sure, just looking at this, I could go to builtwith.com if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that right now. Sometimes I will do that. You know what? Actually, I will. let's have some fun. So if I go to builtwith.com, I do this a lot when I'm doing audits, because I want to understand, okay, what is their tech stack? So let me just put in their, oh, it sent me back to airtable.com, so that's not helpful. If I go into academy.airtable.com, probably because there's all this other junk on the end of the URL. Okay, it's just taking me to Airtable. So but you will sometimes look through this and be able to see on here, and I just realized, you'll sometimes be able to see on BuiltWith, this is builtwith.com, you enter, when you get to the page, you enter the URL right here, which is what I did, and then I just cleaned up this URL a little bit. There we go. So you can see that some of the, here's all the analytics and tracking software they're using across airtable.com. Here is some of the widgets they're using. I don't know what all of these are, but like Drift, that's chat, different things like that. Zapier they use, DocuSign, Slack. I'm just trying to see if there's any information about what their learning management system is. That's an LMS, and that's what this Airtable Academy would be built on. Looks like they have a content management system that is different. It's not the same thing as a learning management system. So I don't see anything on it here, but I just wanted you to be aware of some of what I'll do. And here's all the different email hosting providers. They use a lot of email, different options there. Okay. So this is very complicated. It's also a very complicated organization, so that makes sense. All right, we will stop sharing that. And let's go back over to the community. This might seem a little like disorganized and messy right now, because it is. I keep a spreadsheet when I run through these audits, and that allows me to go through and actually take notes as I'm doing this. But again, I'm just doing this here for you to be able to see the behind the scenes. All right. Looks like, oops, back over here. There we go. All right, we're back over here. Other things I wanted to review. So one of the things that I'm always looking at is like, is the purpose of this community clear? When I'm logged in now, like, what am I actually here to do? They have a really short statement here that says there's 3 reasons: find answers, ask questions, and get connected with the Airtable community. I would say, like, again, based on their audience, finding answers and asking questions is really obvious. And that probably is like the bread and butter of what they do. This feels like a little bit of a throwaway phrase, but you know, Sometimes that's what you got to include. But yeah, I think the purpose is fairly clear. This is a more transactional type of community than a lot of the other communities that I work with on a regular basis. But you can see that is exactly why it is architected the way that it is. And there's a lot of announcements they have here. That's the way their team can actually share updates with the members of the community. So I've gone over the welcoming and onboarding flow. There's not much going on there. Definitely could use an extra email or two to onboard me into the community. I've gone over the purpose. I wanted to check and see if if I go into the discussions area, let's say I go into like show and tell. What I'm looking for when I'm doing an audit of discussions area is I'm trying to find out, are there regular contributors here? So this might be too recent. Today's October 15th, 2024. There's no responses on this yet, but let's take a look at some of their past content. So you can see like 2 responses here, 2 kudos. And what you'll often notice is like, you'll start to see the same names over and over again. So if I'm just doing a quick audit, like I want to just see, okay, this person has a 5. They might be one of their more engaged members. And what I'm looking for here is to see, like, are there folks who are stepping up more, who they could actually start to leverage and work more closely with, build closer relationships with, to involve them more in their processes. So there's not a ton of engagement on these posts. And as I mentioned at the beginning, zero judgment about this, all empathy about this. I know how difficult this is, but there might need to be more one-on-one outreach that happens to get more folks to participate. So you can see this Mike, he's a 7. So if they're looking at their back end, what I'm assuming is that people with 7, 8s, 9s in their gamification system are the ones that they really build relationships with. This person is 18 Pluto. I don't even know what that means. Okay. But obviously, like, people who are participating, the other thing that I'm noticing here is like, this is probably a consulting company. This guy is a consultant. So the ones who are participating, and this is very similar to what you'd see at like Salesforce or blah, 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 other companies like that, where it's like there's financial incentives for these folks to step up and be active members of the community. I'm not sure what this is, but there's financial incentives. So that is going to sweeten the deal for them because they're going to want to participate here because they're going to get more business from it. So it's win-win for the actual community members as well. One thing that I want to also call out here is that it's not just important that things get engagement. That is one piece that's important, but you also want to look at the views on things. So you have this like 131, 191. This is how many people have actually looked at the threads. This is just going to build up over time, especially because, as I mentioned in the beginning, they have this open. So over time, Google's going to be indexing this, and then these views will go up over and over and over. Another way of measuring the return on investment of a community is to look at the number of views on content and look at how much of that content then is replacing things such as like questions to your support department, customer service department, things like that. So these are pretty low view numbers right now, but we're talking about things that have been posted over the last couple of weeks. So really over the last like 2 weeks. So again, this is just going to build up over time. And if I were to go back, you'd start seeing things in the thousands because just Google's indexing them and more people are seeing them. Yeah, so you can see them building up over time. Question from Will. Does it seem like they have a community manager or some sort of organizer present on the platform? Doesn't seem like it so far. Yeah, great point. So that's something I'm truly not seeing here is I'm not seeing a visible community manager. I'm sure that Airtable has community managers. I don't know a lot about their actual team, but I don't see, here's maybe the first indication that there might be somebody. So there are community moderators. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 community moderators. I want to see if these are Airtable employees. Yes, here's your community manager, Maddie J. Hey, Maddie. Maybe I'll run into you on the internet sometime. Leah Ackerman. Yeah, so these are their community managers. They're right here. They call them community moderators, apparently. This is a member of the community who looks like they're talking about spam in the community. This also could be a staff member. It's hard to tell at this point. So yeah, there you go. There's the answer to your question. And that's typically what I'm looking for is like, I'm looking at, as I'm starting to get more familiar with the community, I can tell like, okay, their actual badge is tagged here. So you can see like this person is pretty engaged. This person is a little bit less engaged. You've got Jeff John here, who's, and look, here we go, an 8. So if I look at them, I can probably, if I click into their profile, see all the posts that they've made. Yeah. And you can see who they've gotten kudos from and who they've been giving it to. So here's another thing I'd like to see more of is like for these really active members, if they are really active, who's giving them kudos? I'm not seeing any of the community managers here. So those community managers could be in here giving a lot more kudos. They might be doing something on the back end, but that's something I would definitely do to just, it means a lot for a community member to come in and then get recognition and appreciation from staff members of a company, especially like Airtable. So that really does mean a lot. And then you could probably level up more and more of these members just by doing simple things like coming in and spending some time giving kudos at the end of every day. So yeah, really interesting stuff. Going back to the spaces and the actual layout and organization here, it is a really clear and clean layout, as we talked about in the beginning. I just want to sum this up. Again, here that they have a really clear banner. It looks different when you're logged in, as you can see. I really like this 3-part layout here. I could do without this giant, this is just like a standard in a lot of forums. Like you can't really get rid of it because it's just how things look. But most of your users, like the vast majority of them, are not going to be browsing your main page for content. So like, why is it still there? Can we please do away with that as a design default? Like it doesn't make any sense. I can see this being very useful for the moderators, and like specifically going into unanswered questions, and this specifically being helpful, the unanswered questions being helpful for those members who are consultants and want to answer questions that have been unanswered, but otherwise it doesn't make a ton of sense why that's still there. Announcements, like fix these. Just fix the you know that they're square layouts, just fix your layouts. It's not a huge fix. Okay, let me say that again. No shame, no judgment. This might be a whole design thing that I have no idea about, and that would be very typical. Work with your design team if you need to, and see if there's just something like a quick Canva or something that you can then like set up the template for it and make sure that it's always square and always fitting here. Because this just looks, when I see this, my eyes just gloss right over it. Because I can't read it and it looks a little sloppy. And so for a company of the caliber of Airtable, I don't want to see that kind of, I don't want to see that. So, and then you can see here, they're pulling in the universe project. So there's a lot going on here. What I will say is like, there's a ton of opportunity here. There's a ton of opportunity in groups. That's where I'd be investing a lot of my time. I'd be looking at events, maybe not only what events Airtable and the Airtable community can do, but also what events is Airtable showing up for? Are you going to like Adobe Max or anything else? Like that's another interesting area. Academy, I might even like, you might put that under like resources or learning and put it under its own tab here. Like there's also, I'm just finding this out right now. There's a getting started in a job board, which I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, what? Okay. So this is like this is probably something they're experimenting with. Like and then they have verified Airtable consultants. So yeah, there's just a lot going on here that's, I would just try to streamline. Maybe some of this is made clear in this getting started area. Here's your community guidelines too. That was going to be another thing that I looked at. I shouldn't have to dig this hard for community guidelines. But there's many reasons why you do have to. So here's their community guidelines. And the fact that these are not as clearly surfaced might be part of why that post was around spam. If they were more, I should be able to like see that and see the spam posts and them being responded to with guidelines or just deleted. I mean, if there's any spam in here. So yeah, a lot going on. I think there is a ton of potential here. I know community teams are very resource constrained. I know there's a million things you could be doing. So when you're looking at this, you're like, well, what do I prioritize? I can't tell you that just looking at this for like 20 minutes. What I can tell you though, is like my gut is telling me like, go toward groups. This would seem to be a really high growth area. Simplify this. And then really like, again, simplify everything that's going on in the community and spend time really working with and developing relationships with these they're calling them solution authors, which is really interesting to call them that. I used to run a community. We called them solution authors because they literally created solutions for us, like answers to questions. But Yeah, so these folks should be getting, oh, here we go. There you go. Leah gave some kudos. Maddie gave some kudos. So yeah, you should be seeing more encouragement from community moderators. So you can see that this is just over the last month. So yeah, this is great. Again, lots of opportunity here. I'd be very curious, like the actual setup of the team internally, because it seems like there's members from product. There's likely a community team at Airtable. There's probably folks from content or like learning or whatever they might call it, folks from marketing on events, and folks from specific departments around these groups. So there's probably a really interesting internal dynamic going on there between these groups. So yeah, very cool. Nice work, Airtable team. Beautiful setup, really lovely design. I feel very calm in this community. So that's a great start, because I can't say that about a lot of other communities. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing there. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you want to call out that you think was really nice about the Airtable community, let me know. Drop a note in the chat here. And then I'm going to go through and do the same thing, maybe a little bit faster. I'm learning as I go here, with the monday.com community. And what I wanted to bring up was an email that I had gotten from Monday. Like I said, it was a few weeks ago. It said, welcome to the Monday community. And let's see if I can find it here. Monday.com community is what it's called. Here it is, why we built. So I got this email, and this is what really piqued my interest and led me to actually want to do live reactions to these things. Again, you're going to see my email just for a brief moment. So I got this email, and it said, why we built our Monday.com community. And I was like, what? That's awesome. I'm so surprised that Monday.com is sending me as part of, I was just signing up for a trial, like as part of trial onboarding, like they're sending me to their community. That's fantastic. That means I can get really, I can start to look at different templates that people are using and different ways of using Monday.com. And so I started to look at this, and then I got very confused by this, because it says, when you sign up for Monday.com, it's more than a platform, it's a community. Okay, that's great in theory. But then it just sends me to this backstory of like a podcast, and then they're talking about a community, and I'm like, what? And then I hit let's start, and it's just reminding me to activate my free 7-day trial. So I was very disappointed by this, because as a community builder, I'm like, oh, I got invited to a community as part of onboarding, and then it like wasn't actually a community. And by the way, that's extremely confusing for your members and your users, because there is a Monday.com community that I only was able to find by typing in Monday.com community into Google. It might actually be on the, let me see if I can find the Monday.com homepage, just like I did for Airtable. I want to give them the same. So this is my trial account. Oh, come on. I can't even sign out. So I can't get to the Monday.com homepage. I could start an incognito window, but I'm not going to do all that right now. So this is one way to get in. Okay. But there you go. There's one annoying thing. If you're on a free trial, that you can't get into to even sign out if your trial lapses. So here is the forum. Here it is. Yay! Oh, look at that little fancy little burst. Ooh, I like that. It feels like I'm in a soda can or something, or pop can if you're from the Midwest. That was a lovely little banner there. So you can see here, like I mentioned, very, very normal design of a community to have this little like half page heading here that has immediate search, because that's what that's what the organization wants to encourage you to do right away. What I'm noticing here, and this is why I wanted to do 2 of these, because I want you to see 2 side by side. Right away, I'm noticing a couple of things. There's 4 areas here. That's not necessarily bad. 3 is my magic number. It's a number that our brains really like. So they're kind of, they could probably do away with one of these in this area, but they probably have internal fights about why each one of these is here. Or maybe somebody's having like an internal dialogue with themselves. So you'll notice there's 4 here, but they are downsized. They're smaller. They're not taking up as much of the page. The other thing I'm noticing here, and I'm loving this, is that here, Monday, this is part of the help center. The community is part of the help center, but they don't have that big, long top nav that the other one had. There's just learning resources, and this leads you to the academy, the learning management software. It leads you to your video tutorials, your knowledge base, and your API documentation. It's very clean, the layout of this. So in contrast, like you can see, this is just a little bit less intimidating. And this community button, I'm assuming, is just, you can't remove it. It's probably just on every page. So yeah, I'm already loving that. I'm loving that and how clear that is. I wanted to take a moment and look at the purpose here. Remember the purpose of the Airtable community they had as like this 3-part statement? This one is just join our community to take your Monday.com skills to the next level. If I had to pick one of these that I preferred, personally, I like the way that Airtable approached it, although like removing the part about like connecting to the Airtable universe, because people aren't generally like browsing a community to connect. I like that breakdown of like, here are the things you can do here. This is more of just like an aspirational statement, right? Because like when I see this statement, I'm like, okay, join our community, take your skills to the next level. Well, where do I start? Because I don't know, like database. It's going to return like tons and tons and tons of stuff. And you can see here, so when you do search, it's actually showing you stuff from the forum, and then it's tagging it by color, which section of the forum that it is in. So let's take a look at what is Monday.com using for their forum software. I can almost guarantee you, just looking at this for like 5 seconds, this looks like a discourse.org community. You can just tell. It just looks like one. Let me see if I... Okay, just go away. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, okay. See, they don't have a statement here of what they are using, but that would be... I have a feeling that they have plugged in a discourse forum here on top of this. It also could be, I'm blinking on the note, the name of it right now. Well, don't mind me. But what you're seeing here is, and again, like, I don't know why this is like the default. Like, people are not browsing a waterfall of content here, but you see it's recent discussions here. Here are the people who have actually commented. This is how I know it's discourse, is because of these 4 columns here. This is very common of a discourse setup. It shows you who's commented on things. I would assume that this person here is probably a community manager, because they're showing up in multiple places. The number of replies, views, and activity the last time somebody commented on something. Interesting. When I clicked on that person's face, it just... Okay, so I'm not logged in. I wonder if that's going to be an issue here because I don't have an active account. Oh, I do actually. But it looks like also here, and here's something that's surprising me as I'm looking through it. Go back through this page. There's community highlights. That's very cool. It's kind of like the announcement section in the other community. They've got these sized to the appropriate size, so they're actually easy to read. You can see it just like feels a little bit more premium. It feels really nice. I like that. These are top voted ideas. So again here, just like the Airtable community, they're probably connected to their product team. Submitting ideas is probably how they start to prioritize what's on their roadmap. Monday.com, to your question earlier, Will, is also going to be a B2B community. So both of these are B2B communities. Then it looks like there are community groups in addition to that. So I'm like, oh, that's a surprise. Didn't realize that. And then this is really all the page has on it. So I'm like, where is this going to take me? This takes me actually to a Facebook. This takes me to like their global Facebook community. This is going to take me to local groups. Interesting. A nonprofit community. That's interesting. And then a developers community. So it's really common for, so yeah, I'd have to actually log into Facebook here, but you can see they have 18,000 members on Facebook. I'm not part of the group right now, so I couldn't probably log in. I'm assuming it's a lot of product. Oh no, I lost the page. It's probably a lot of product feedback and bugs and all kinds of other fun stuff. Let's see if I can find the community this way. Nope, no community on your Monday.com homepage. I finally got logged out somehow. But let's see if I can find it. Here it is. It's buried under resources. That's how we found it. Yeah, not Facebook. I know. I'm surprised that they still have a Facebook. There's that lovely little fizzy graphic here. Again, I'm really surprised that they're still managing Facebook communities alongside what looks like a discourse forum. I'd be very curious about the reasoning for that. They're not the only company that does this. It's my guess in looking at this is probably because that's where they began. And that's where the traffic is coming from. And so they don't want to like do away with it because there's still traffic happening there. There's still people discovering the community there. And it probably feels a little bit more user-friendly than Discourse. Discourse can feel really developer-y. You can just see this. It feels like a little cold. So that's my guess on why they're doing that. I'm curious if I click into nonprofit community. Yeah, this is just a section of, it's just a category that they have in their community. So this is the entire page. So that's really interesting because it's not as easy to browse in this particular community. But again, that's okay because most people are not going to be browsing in your community like I am right now. Well, yeah, the community is feeling a bit scattered. Did you receive a welcome on board with your account sign up? Great question. I'm assuming I did not, but let's see. Let's find out. I'm gonna check my email and my other. Surprise me. Nope, I got nothing. But I don't think I'm signed in right now. So I'm still signed out. That is true. So let me see if I sign up for this right now. What happens? Oh my gosh, are they really gonna make me do this? Okay, I'm gonna log in on my other account here so you can see monday.com community. I have it through a client. That is what I'm doing here. Logging in through my client access. All right. And they have removed my account. Okay, great, awesome, perfect. Everything's difficult. Okay. Yeah, I would, Will mention like they might need to consider migrating in the future. Yes. I would be surprised if they're not already, it's like already one of their considerations. A big pushback they're going to get from that though, is they're going to lose traffic to what is happening, but they're also not getting any SEO from any of the stuff that's happening on Facebook because it's all behind closed doors. It's purpose. I mean, it's exclusive because people can't get in there. They're already investing in this. I don't know why they wouldn't just go all in on it, but there's probably a lot of risks and reasons for that. But if they're not thinking about migration right now, they definitely should be in the near future. So let me see if I can get into my other account here. See, this is like, I'm experiencing friction just even trying to log in. Like, I have an account with you. Please let me into your community. It should not be this hard. So I'm creating a new account right now, which is silly. I should not have to do that. They're making it very difficult for me. And there's, I'm sure, technical reasons for why that is the way it is. Okay. I just signed up again. So let's see. All right. I'm going to see if I can share this here. All right. So you can see I got this. I entered a new username, profile, all that stuff. And I am getting a activation email. So I'm going to go check my email for that. All right. So what I have received is this email. You can see this. 1 second. I want to make sure you can actually see what I'm sharing. Here it is. So I'm getting this bracketed email. I abhor bracketed text emails like this. They're transactional emails, so I get why it's set up that way. Sometimes you can't change it unless you have a developer working on it with you. But this allows you to confirm your new account. I go in through here. I confirm my account. Let's see what happens when I do that. Okay, click here to activate. I like this little flow here. Welcome to the community forum. Okay, got it. It's going to walk me through a nice little tour. And yeah, so you see here that the main change is I get now the ability to start a discussion. And then I also have, they have a bot set up to give you a greeting. This is definitely Discourse. This is really standard. They've probably just set this up directly from Discourse. Disco bot means like Discourse bot. And civilized community behavior specifically comes from Discourse. It's like they copy pasted this from Discourse, which is a good starting point. I mean, Discourse does really large communities. So yeah, there's a lot here that is really good though. And just stepping back here, I love the simplicity of this. I love that little fizzy welcome screen. The onboarding flow needs some work. It needs some uplifting, probably some QAing. I'm not seeing yet, and I wanted to find out if this was, she's an ambassador. So that's interesting. She's like a co-leader. She's likely not a staff member. Let's see if there's any indication from the last few months if there's any staff members here. Okay, these are all questions. Some of them did not get answered. Available view on board. A lot of these are product and feature requests, so you can see them being added and tagged as such. All right, here's maybe one that would get. Here's a sales post. I'd be curious if they. Okay, so Juliet, there she is. She's a Monday.com team member. That's cool. They have a community event calendar so that they can share it. And of course, it's run through Monday.com. Love that. This post like this can get spammy really quickly. I think Juliet did a great job of responding to this and, getting out in front of it. It probably is not the first time that it's happened. But yeah, here's one of your community managers here. Looks like, they're replying to some of these folks, probably doing a lot of work on the back end, the categories that she's working in a lot. Feature requests, that makes a lot of sense. That's usually like it's a lot of work to have a good feature request community, community events, announcements, things like that. And then here are her badges, and you can see all the community's badges probably here, including the ones that she doesn't have yet. Yeah. So yeah, this is looking really nice. Yeah. And the tagging system here is nice. It's going to make it really easy on the back end to like look through and tag all that information and see like, okay, how many formula questions do we have? How many chart questions do we have? Things like that. So they're probably able to report on like the top questions coming in, and they can bring that to their support team and really improve and streamline processes there. I love the interactive elements or the animated elements of this page. Really, really beautiful. I'd be very curious looking into here what happens when these ideas, like, do they update? Yeah, it's just a lot of people asking for the feature. There's no like update from product on this. I could be just missing it. It's possible I'm missing it. There's 167 comments over the last 5 years on this post. It says it's coming soon. There it is. It says it's coming soon. So that's what you want to see is like, just because you have a bunch of people voting on features doesn't mean that the team is doing anything about it, which is not good. But here it looks like they're able to highlight those that are actually coming soon. So that's a really cool feature there. Yeah, let's see. Anything else I want to call out here? I checked out the guidelines. One thing that is unclear to me that feels a little bit scattered about this is just that I know that there's like 4 different communities here. 2 of them are on Discourse. 2 of them are on Facebook. And then I know there's also, I'm trying to look around and see like, how can I browse more topics? So there's events, there's feature requests, there's announcements, and then just platform discussions. Okay, that's really big. And then there's subcategories under here. Okay, Monday Dev, Monday CRM. So they're breaking it down by app. Yeah. So okay, this is now making a little bit more sense to me. But you can see like this is a Discourse basic standard view. It is super text heavy. Like it is not friendly to look at, and that is not anything Monday.com has done wrong. It is simply the way that their standard setup looks. And so it's, again, not something that you're going to browse very much. However, this is a very open community. So again, like Google is going to be indexing a lot of this content, and it's going to be really useful, and it's going to grow over time. So yeah, there's a lot of what is the word I'm looking for? Opportunity for this community as well. I think to get more streamlined, to really get more clear on, they probably are, trying to develop some kind of a return on investment ROI model around the Facebook communities. Get off of those if you can. They have a conference coming up. That's exciting. Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff here. I just think, yeah, some streamlining could do this community a lot of good. And I think it's really beautiful. So with that, I'm going to start wrapping up because I could keep talking about this for hours, but I don't want to take up the entire day just talking about it. I was going to do those 2 other communities, but now I'm like, there's no way. The communities that I wanted to review were Ulta. Ulta just released their very first online community, and then the other one was Upwork, because that's another one. I just got invited to a subgroup within Upwork because I hire some folks on Upwork occasionally. They both recently did marketing pushes, both Ulta and Upwork, and so I wanted to go through those. So maybe in a future one of these sessions. This was really fun. All right, so would love to see in the comments of this what you think these communities are doing really well, what you have learned from this, what you would want to see them do even better in the future. And if you want to dive even deeper into a more structured framework for everything that I just broke down, that's why I recommend watching the workshop on how to build and create the thriving community of your dreams. That workshop is going to break down into, the Lego community. That's a good idea. It's going to break down the 6 different pieces that, the 6 different items that you need in order for your community to be and feel really successful, really thriving. And it's a free on-demand workshop that you can check out and watch the replay of anytime you'd like. And you'll start to understand kind of what are the important components. Like, I got into the nitty gritty behind a lot of these communities today, but stepping back out of the nitty gritty and into like the big picture, which is really important to do. What do we need to be successful? So that's it for today, my friends. Thank you for being here, for watching the replay. If you are watching the replay, thank you, Will, for all these, Will Allen, for all these wonderful comments and questions that you brought to the stage today. Follow me on Instagram if you would like to continue this conversation. I'm at Carrie Melissa Jones there. Would love to stay in touch. Tell me what you learned from watching this. Yeah, let's be friends. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Okay. Bye, everybody.